I wanted to give my opinion on some early prediction thoughts for Alexander Volkanovski versus Max Holloway happening at UFC 245 at the end of the year. It's a great fight. I'm sure it will be headlined by Usman versus Covington, but even if it isn't, that's a great headliner because there aren't many title fights nowadays. With John Jones, you kind of get the feeling he's going to beat anyone at light heavyweight. With Henry Cejudo, he's most likely going to win at flyweight. Maybe at bantamweight as well. There's not really many title fights. Khabib recently has been going on a thing like he's most likely going to win. He's the favourite against these guys. It's very rare that it's a very 50-50 situation here with Volkanovski and Max Holloway. This worries me. If you are a Max Holloway fan at home, you should be worried here. Okay? I'm a big fan of Holloway. I want to see him do well. Volkanovski is a fucker of a guy. A bad matchup for Max Holloway in terms of wrestling. If you look at Max Holloway, yes, he's wiped out the featherweight division, but he's done it in a very selective way. Not that he's chosen these things himself, but there's been a very key style that he has not yet had to face. And that's the smothering, shorter wrestler that Volkanovski is, that Chad Mendes is, that Frankie Edgar is. Yes, he just beat Frankie Edgar. But I feel like Volkanovski is the more in-date version. And in his sell-by date, version of Frankie Edgar and Chad Mendes. I think he's stronger. He's more youthful, obviously. He hasn't taken nearly as much damage as either of those guys in his career. He's only lost once. He got finished by a head kick ages ago in one of his first ever fights. Since then, he's 20-1. The comparison, I think this is a better version of Frankie Edgar and Chad Mendes. And when you're a taller guy like Max Holloway and you like to keep your arms out like this, and that's what Holloway does. He likes to stalk you down like this. You leave a lot of shots open. And when you're a taller guy, it's the same problem Anthony Joshua was having with Ruiz. You find yourself leaning into shots a lot more. Your head comes down a lot more. You're in awkward situations trying to fight on the inside with a guy like Volkanovski or with a guy like Ruiz like Joshua was. Leaves you open to these looping hooks up top, which Volkanovski is very good at. This is a bad matchup for Max Holloway. However, I do feel Holloway getting that win over Frankie Edgar, not taking any damage, and now he's turning around nice and quick and fighting again. I feel like that's going to favour him here. A lot of people are going into the damage that Holloway has taken. In reality, he hasn't taken much. He got rocked twice by Poirier. Yes, he got beat up quite a bit and took some heavy shots, but it's not like he got KO'd by Poirier and now he's back now fighting again for the second time. He didn't take any damage. In my opinion, the Frankie Edgar fight to Holloway looked like, let's do a hard sparring session in Canada. Hey, I know we're training for Volkanovski. We've just had a camp designed to similar guy to Volkanovski. I feel like that's going to help. Volkanovski's fought no one like Max Holloway. No one like Max Holloway. You're talking Chad Mendes, Jose Aldo, Darren Elkins. No one like Max Holloway. Volkanovski hasn't seen that style at all yet. Holloway's now fought a guy very recently that possesses some of the same abilities, if not to the same level, at least to some level, of Volkanovski. He's just had this training camp. He's not going to be changing much else. In my opinion, I see the Frankie Edgar fight here, in terms of advantages for Holloway, as a hard sparring session about 12 weeks out from his camp with Volkanovski. That's all it was. Get me a guy who moves like him. Get me a guy who throws like him. Get me a guy who's the same dimensions as him. I'll go tee him off for 5 rounds, not take any damage, and now I want the real guy. That's a perfect warm-up. That reason I'm going with Holloway. He's younger. He's always going to be improving. In my opinion, if Poirier can't KO you stiff, Volkanovski's not going to be able to either. And also, I like Volkanovski, but I feel like a lot was made over his win against Chad Mendes. I don't think we saw the same Chad Mendes. I don't think Chad Mendes has been the same since what McGregor did to him. Because you shouldn't be getting one-shot KO'd by Frankie Edgar like that afterwards. I feel like McGregor did something to his chin. And since then, he's not been quite the same in terms of taking shots. Volkanovski went in there and did his thing. I congratulate that. I don't think he beat the best version of Chad Mendes. And I also don't think he beat the best version of Jose Aldo. I think he's a savage. And what he's done to beat both of those guys is very good. But I feel like that Frankie Edgar and Jose Aldo are kind of on the downslide of their career now. Not Frankie Edgar, Jose Aldo. Chad Mendes is out of his career, so he was obviously on the downside. Jose Aldo is on the downside of his career. He's thinking about moving down in weight. That's obviously a terrible sign. I feel like Holloway's beat Aldo twice in his prime and looked kind of more impressive because, in my opinion, it was a better version of Aldo that showed up to fight. If that version of Aldo showed up against Volkanovski, we would have seen a much different fight. I just feel like it's now Aldo's playing it a little bit more safe, trying to get his money, not trying to risk getting KO'd at the end of his career because he doesn't want that brain damage. I feel like Holloway's going to be able to pull this one off. I really do. And Volkanovski gets hurt. People don't talk about that. Yes, he recovers, and yes, he pushes the pace. In my opinion, I feel like this fight's going to go like this. Volkanovski's going to come out all guns blazing in the first 2 rounds. It's going to be chaos. He may even rock Holloway. I think he may do what Poirier did to Holloway in the first 2 rounds. But in the last 3, I think Holloway's going to show him pace. Oh, you think you can go 5 rounds? Try going 5 rounds like this. And that's where we're going to see Holloway take over. I think we may even see a TKO in the 4th round. Like and subscribe. Click that button there. Goodbye. Thanks for watching. I'll do another one of these closer to the time when I've regained some thoughts. But those are what I think right now. See you later.